It's Pastor Appreciation Month. And as part of Pastor Appreciation Month, I'm doing a series of videos on what it's like to be a pastor and ways that you can appreciate them and why you should appreciate them. Various things I'm talking about is things that a pastor goes through that you don't know about. There will be pastor horror stories coming up and things they didn't teach me at Bible college and some other fun things like that. But today, with it being early October, I wanted to give you a few ideas of different things that you can do to appreciate your pastor, let them know that you appreciate them, and things that won't cost you a penny. How's that for really cool? Because I know if you're like me, you're on a budget, and well, of course I'm on a budget. I'm a pastor. I got no money, but I have 7 different tips here that won't cost you anything out of your wallet to show your pastor that you appreciate them. And see, I'm not even going to talk about giving at church and stuff like that. That's a whole nother deal. How's that for cool? So, not necessarily in any order. Um, Number one, volunteer to help. A lot of people don't realize all that a pastor does. When you look at the duties of a pastor, everybody thinks it's standing up there on Sunday morning and just saying a few words and maybe playing an instrument and singing, but there's so much more to pastoring than just that. There is calling people, visitation when somebody is sick, dealing with paperwork and bookkeeping and attendance records. And many pastors have bookkeepers and accountants, but not all do. There's the custodial work. In fact, the reason I'm sitting here at church right now is because I just got done cleaning the church, getting ready for tomorrow morning. The audio equipment, sound equipment, computers and technology, maintenance and handyman, the yard work, the lawns. If something else needs fixing, you're the one who fixes it. Just a long list of things that people don't even realize that pastors do. And small things that you can do to help. Hey, I've got an hour a week. Pastor, I'll come clean the church for you. Pastor, I'll take care of mowing your yards for you. And I've got some wonderful people who have my yards taken care of, which is wonderful because I'm allergic to grass, so I can't mow the lawn. So I'm very grateful for people who do that. But when you step up and you say, you know what, Pastor, I'll take care of this for you. I've got it. That's a wonderful thing and a wonderful burden off of the pastor's shoulders so they can spend more time doing what they need to do. And that's taking care of the people in their church and making sure everything's ready for Sunday. You may not realize how long it takes to prepare an actual sermon up there. I've heard estimates that it's an hour for every 2 to 5 minutes that you speak. That's probably a good estimate. So anything you can do like that to help a pastor. And that includes the activities that the church does. If you can help with the activities, if you're able to help lead the men's group, the women's group, teach Sunday school, prepare breakfast or a dinner once a week, because I know some churches will do meals during the midweek service or after Sunday service. If you can cook, hey, that's a great way to help out. If the church is having an activity, be there and support it and encourage it. That's huge. It really is. Number 2, call them when you're in need. There's this idea that pastors know everything, and we're pretty good usually at kind of mining the local gossip to find out those things that we should know that people don't tell us. But it doesn't mean we find out everything, and there's a lot of things we don't find out. I can't tell you how many times I've had people come up to me on a Sunday morning. Well, Pastor, it would have been nice if you'd visited me in the hospital. I had no idea you were in the hospital. I didn't even know you were sick. Well, you should have known. Okay, who told me? Well, you should have known. Or, Pastor, our funds are really low, and we're trying to figure out how this bill's going to get paid. Don't ask them to do your shopping for you. I've had people that seem to think that I am their warehouse, their pantry, their provider. No, that's not what I'm here for. If I can help, I will. But if you're taking advantage of me, I'm probably not going to stop helping because I'm not that. But if you do have a need, let the pastor know. If you've got somebody sick in the family, if you've had a car accident, if somebody's out of work, if there's something going on and you want them to pray for you, encourage you, and say, Tell them. If there's something they can do that will help you, let them know. Don't necessarily expect the cash outputs because most pastors don't have that. But if they do have something and it's a real need, not just you expecting them to take care of them, expecting them to take care of you. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, uh, let them know. Let them know. Number three, remember their family. Most ministers are married. A lot of them have kids, depending upon church. In the Catholic Church, they're not, but they still have parents. They probably have siblings. Don't expect more out of them than you would expect out of anybody else in church. They may be a minister, but their kids are still kids. They're normal kids. Don't expect them to be super high standards of godliness and always perfect angels. And don't put ridiculous expectations on them. Let them be normal people, but remember that they have needs too, that they go through things, that they struggle, that a minister's spouse struggles with all the expectations that their spouse has and trying to help them and encourage them. Not every minister's spouse sees themselves as a second minister in the church, and that's okay. They may have jobs outside and other things they have to do. But remember them and encourage them. Say nice things to them. Bless them as well. Number four, if there is an activity or a service, invite other people to come. One of the best ways to see a church grow, not just in numbers, but spiritually, emotionally, is to bring other people in, and that's up to you. There's this weird idea that we have in a lot of American churches that it's the pastor's job to bring in new people. No, it's not. Yes, a pastor will do that, but the pastor's job is to train you to bring in new people and to encourage them and teach them. That's what a real pastor's job is, to get you ready and let you do the work. Invite new people. Bring them to the activities. Bring them to the Bible study, the Sunday school. Invite them to service. There's going to be a lot of people to tell you, oh, I already have a church. Ask them when's the last time they went. In our area, everybody will tell you that they're a Christian and go to church. And yet in our area, all the churches in town combined can seat about half the town, and none of us are full. In fact, most of us are less than half full. There's a lot of people in our town telling you they go to church and they don't go to church. And that's true everywhere. Invite them. Give them a reason to come. One of the biggest reasons people don't go to a church for the first time is they have nobody to go with, nobody to sit with. If you see somebody new walk in the door, greet them, say hello, invite them to sit with you, invite them to lunch. Treat new people as if they're treasures, because otherwise the pastor's spending all of his time trying to encourage new visitors when they come in. They don't get to spend time with their own people. Help them out with that. When the church can cover bringing in new people, inviting new people, taking care of the new people, it becomes more than just the pastor, and you're going to bring those people in. Man, when you get a congregation that's doing that for you as pastor, oh, it's such a blessing. It is an amazing blessing. It really is. Which leads me actually to number 5. Show up. I know this should be obvious, but we have people that tell us that they're members of our church and they never come in the door. Here's a great example. True story. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was at our local grocery store, had picked up some groceries here in town, and had gotten in line, and the cashier looked at me and said, "Oh, hey, Pastor, how are you doing today?" As she's working on another customer in front of her. "Oh, good. I'm doing great. How are you doing?" And the lady that's in line in front of me getting checked out turns around, looks at me and says, "Oh, you're a pastor?" "Yes, ma'am." "Here in town?" "Yes, ma'am." "Well, that's really neat. I love meeting pastors." Good. Happy to hear it." So I asked her, "Do you have a church?" "Oh, yeah, I've got a great church. I have a fantastic church." "Really? Which church is it?" "Well, it's that one down on Main Street." Okay, now, at this point, I kind of start laughing because that's my church, and I don't know who this lady is. But I go ahead. Oh, really? The church down at Main Street, that New Hope one? How is the pastor over there? Oh, he's amazing. He's the best preacher, the most loving guy. He's just fantastic. I love his sermons. I'm going, really? And you go every Sunday? It's just, oh, I rarely miss a Sunday. I'm there all the time. I said, good services. Oh, great music, good preaching. I said, and this pastor's a really good pastor. Oh, yeah, he's fantastic. At this point, I'm looking over at the cashier, and she's trying very hard to keep a straight face because she sees what's going on. I'm like, so let me get this straight. You go to that New Hope Church on Main Street. And she goes, yeah, great church. I says, the one here in Crane, Main Street, New Hope. Absolutely. I said, well, that's wonderful to know. My name's George. I'm the pastor of New Hope Church on Main Street, and I don't think I've met you yet. She ran away. Just got her stuff and out the door, and I looked at the cashier and just kind of went, I don't know who she was. Be honest. Go to church and don't tell people you're going to a church you're not going to. Now, I do understand I have people that watch online from here in town, and I don't always get to know who that is because they'll watch when I'm not, at times that it's not live. They'll watch later on and stuff. And I love when people come up and introduce themselves and say, hey, I was there Sunday through your video. Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. But it's an encouragement when people come. When we have special services, guest speakers, special events, concerts, and people don't show up, we take it personally. We do. Come to church. Biggest way to encourage your pastor, show up. Let's see. Number 2, or get my others here. Okay. Number 6. I think that's where I am. I can't count. I don't even have this written in order. I just scribbled out. Compliment their message. Okay. When a pastor preaches, they're really putting themselves out there. And there's a lot of pastors, they'll never let you know this, but we are very self-conscious. We're very nervous about how what we say is received, especially sometimes when it's those things that you say what needs to be said, but not what you want to say, because it's not always the nicest thing. Those times where you're stepping on toes. Let your pastor know you appreciate the message. If you're in one of those kinds of churches where it's okay to amen the pastor, amen them loudly so they can hear you. Let them know you agree. If they make a good point, amen, hallelujah. Let them know. After the service, we used to shake hands before COVID, but tell them afterwards, that was a great message. I really appreciated that. If they make a great quote, share it on social media. I know for some of you, it's like, what? Those times I see somebody post a tweet up and they tag me in it and something I said, wow. That's a compliment. That's really cool. Or Facebook or whatever. I had somebody, I was speaking at a small group and they posted a picture of me on their Instagram while I was speaking with a quote. Wow, that was really cool. Do that for your pastor. It's a great way to let them know, you know what, I really like what he said today. I really appreciate that. If they aren't speaking but they have a good speaker, let them know, I really like them. They were great. I really appreciated this. Those kind, simple words go so far for a pastor. If they stream the services, share the stream on your social media. Let other people see and say why you liked it or what was good about that morning. Don't focus on the negative. We all have our negatives. We all, a lot of times, know it. For example, my singing. When I mess a song up, I know it. But if I get one right, let me know. Hey, that was really good. It's a big encouragement. And then, let's see, the last one, and this is a big one, because, as pastors, we stand up there and we're constantly asked to talk a lot, to give our opinions about things. What do you think about this? And what's the Bible say about that? What should I do in this? Biggest way to compliment a pastor and encourage them and support them, when the pastor says that we should do something, do it. When I have people that ask me for advice and every bit of advice I give, they completely ignore and go do the opposite, I'm like, why are you asking me anything? And I've had a couple people that after few years of that, it's like, don't ask me. I would much rather you turned around and let me kick you in the butt afterwards, because every time you've asked me for advice and then you've gone and done the opposite and it's fallen apart and failed, where if you'd done what I said to begin with, if a pastor says something, do it. If they preach something and they say, hey, here's what the word says, this is what we're supposed to do it. If they're giving an opinion that maybe you disagree with, think about it, analyze it, try to understand why they're saying what they're saying. Maybe you won't necessarily come to an agreement with them, but you should at least understand why they're saying it and maybe learn from it. Not all of us are going to agree on everything, and that's okay. But there are definitely a lot of things that Scripture's pretty clear on and biblical teaching is clear on. And if we are saying those things to try to steer you in the right direction towards God and being what you're supposed to be, and then we see you go, you know what, that's right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to follow through on it. You will bless your pastor's socks off. I promise you. So there's 7 ways that you can bless your pastor, that you can show them you appreciate them. It don't cost you a penny. If you got other ideas, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Don't forget to share them that way. And let your pastor know that you appreciate him, even if it's a handmade card this month. It would be wonderful. Let him know. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless.